What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're going to be replacing the upper control arm on my 2001 Lexus GS 300. This is going to apply to the 97 to 05 GS series and the IS as well, and maybe the LS. Anyway, it's an upper control arm, pretty straightforward procedure, so let's get started. First thing you want to do, if you don't have an electric or an air impact, you want to break your lug nuts loose, otherwise the wheel's just going to spin on you. If you do, then jack up your car and then take the lug nuts off like I'm going to do. I'm just going to jack up this one side because I'm only replacing this one control arm. You should probably do them as a pair, but I'm just replacing this one for today. I'm going to leave my jack with the jack stand here so that they both hold pressure on the vehicle. The next step will be to remove the wheel. So at this point we have a nice view of the upper control arm, and as you can see the bolts might interfere with the strut. $19mm socket for me, yours might be different. Just leave this on a couple threads so that when you break this free, the knuckle doesn't come flying off. Get your hammer and hit right on the knuckle, that should break it free. There we go. And gently let the knuckle come down. Oh, by the way, this is why I'm replacing the control arm. It's not because of the ball joint. The ball joint's fine, but if you listen closely, got play in the bushings here. I think you can buy new bushings for it, but for the price of that and the effort that I'd have to go through to replace them, might as well buy new. So the next step is to remove the two bolts that hold the control arm in, but they will hit the spring on the strut. So what you want to do is unbolt the strut from the top, remove this cap. So just 3 14mm nuts. This whole thing is going to want to fall down, so I'm going to be careful about that. Make sure you don't lose this spacer. So what I'm going to do now is break free these two bolts that hold the control arm. There's one right here, it goes through the arm, and then one on that side. They shouldn't be crazy tight. Alright, now next, in order to be able to pull the strut down, what you want to do is undo the sway bar link. So I'm going to take these two mounting bolts off. Actually, that's a bolt and that's a nut, so take those off. They're both 12mm. And I don't know if you noticed, but the strut did fall down a little bit, the whole assembly here. With all that extra room, you can pull out these bolts. There's one. There you go. And remove your control arm. Alright, now grab your new control arm. I'm going to link this and all the tools that I use down in the description, so check that out if you're interested. If it doesn't want to go, you can persuade it with a rubber mallet. Okay, that one's lined up, so I'm going to start that one. Alright, I got them both started, and now I'm going to snug them. Alright. Now that they're both started, I'm going to put the strut back so I can get my movement back. Lift that up. You can start a nut up top if you'd like. Okay, I started one nut just to hold it on. Now that I have my swing back in the control arm, continue to tightening these. So this control arm actually moves even when it's tight. It's supposed to pivot up and down. So it doesn't really matter where you tighten the bushings. Typically you'd want to tighten bushings at ride level or ride height so that it doesn't twist the bushing. So let's say on a bushing that was not movable, if you tighten it when the control arm's up here, then you go to put it together, you're twisting the bushing at ride height. You want it to be not twisted at ride height. In this case it doesn't matter, but I'm still gonna put it right about where I think ride height is. And I know for a fact I cannot get a torque wrench in here because it's gonna hit the spring and the strut and everything. So I'm just gonna go for make it tight. But if you are interested, I'll put the torque specs down in the description for everything that we're doing here. Nice and tight. Before we move too far ahead, I'm going to put the sway bar link back. Just going to make these nice and snug. Don't go crazy because they're only small nuts and bolts. I actually like to coat these in some anti-seize. That way they don't seize in there for the next time it has to be taken out. Next thing I'm going to do is put the strut bolts back on the top. Again, torque specs for everything is going to be in the description. I'm just going to check these by hand. Put the thread protectors back on. Now put the cap on. It is directional, so make sure that the side with no flat area goes up against the master cylinder. And it should snap on. Perfect. And of course, one of the last things to do is to put the knuckle back. There. Put your castle nut on. To line up your cotter pin slots, always tighten, never loosen. And there it is right there. Again, torque specs for everything in the description. All right, I'm gonna put this, I should have turned the stud. I didn't think about it because it's pointing straight back. But what I'm gonna do is get it through. There we go. Bend that around. And there you have it. Now let's put the wheel on and then go get yourself an alignment. Remove your jack and jack stand, and then we'll torque the wheel down. So the factory lug nut torque is 76 foot-pounds. Because I have bigger wheels and tires and a different setup here, I'm going to go with 85. Double check it. Alright, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it was helpful. If you have anything you want to say, leave it down in the comment section below. I read every single comment and try to respond to all of them. Having said that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.